second edition of an initiative rolled out to train thousands of Barbadians for jobs in the construction sector. Barbados should soon have comprehensive data to help shape policies to improve people's lives. Government hits back at opposition criticism of its spending for the World Cup. And in sports, South Africa dodged another bullet on a tricky New York pitch at the World Cup.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening, I'm Pearson Bowen. Thousands of Barbadians will benefit from technical training in over 20 subject areas in a few weeks. It comes as government rolls out the second edition of the Barbados Construction Gateway Training Initiative. According to Deputy Prime Minister Santia Bradshaw, the decision on the training was made last week. The initiative which was first launched 2 years ago to meet the labour demands of the construction sector.
I'm pleased that SJPI was again at the forefront of being able to lead on Construction Gateway. We've just agreed to extend the program even further, just at Cabinet last week. And I think that speaks to the testimony of the work that SJPI has been doing, and also their commitment to being able to find different ways to be able to deliver programs to the general public, and in particular to our young people.
The Samuel Jackman Prescott Institute of Technology, the Barbados Community College and the Barbados Vocational Training Board will facilitate classes yet again. And SJPI Principal Ian Drakes is excited about the news. However, he notes there will be a few tweaks to the offerings when the course starts tentatively in July.
We've realized from our research that we need to make those courses a little longer, and so we're going to move it from 12 weeks training to a cohort being for 16 weeks. And we believe that this will give you a quality person in terms of the industry coming out of the construction gateway. And so that's going to be, again, another exciting moment. We're looking to launch that in early July in terms of to start the training, and that's where the excitement comes in terms of what the Deputy Prime Minister is speaking about, phase 2 of Construction Gateway, where we're going to look to do another 4 cohorts again over that 1 year period, and therefore bringing Barbados on par within a short time. We're targeting between 3,000 to 4,000 persons. In the previous one, we have done close to 2,000 persons.
Government will soon have comprehensive data in hand to better tailor policies to meet the needs of citizens and improve their living conditions. That's because the Ministry of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs has launched the Country Assessment of Living Conditions. The initiative is supported by the Caribbean Development Bank and the Inter-American Development Bank for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, and is being managed by the National Assessment Team. Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs Kirk Humphreys says data from the studies will play an essential role in helping the government to make informed decisions.
We would know that in the last poverty study, it was, I think the household was 17.2%, came back at that was 2016, 2017, as a percentage of persons living in poverty, of households living in poverty. We do not know what the data will tell us now, but we do know that we need to know so that we can make informed decisions. I also must say to you that in the intervening years, I had some concerns that while perhaps we pursue the information, that a lot of the data that should be used to make decisions is not used to make decisions. The government, Caribbean governments, are very good at collecting information sometimes and not doing anything with it. So we don't do it often enough, and when we do collect, we just put it on the shelf. But this cannot be the kind of information that is stored on a shelf.
The calc, which officially starts on July the 1st, has 4 main components, including the Participatory Poverty Assessment and Survey of Living Conditions. Mr. Humphrey says within the next 6 months, Barbados' poverty line will be known based on the findings of the survey. However, in the meantime, he's asking Barbadians to cooperate with the enumerators visiting their homes.
Enumerators will come around, they will be asking questions, they will have proper identification, they'll be asking questions in relation to persons' living conditions. I'm asking Barbadians to be nice and to respond to these questions with some grace. I know the reality is that everybody's doing questions, questionnaires. People are getting fatigued of seeing so many different questionnaires, but this is a very, very, very important study for Barbados.
The Sargassum seaweed is back in abundance along the island's beaches, and sea bathers and beach operators are hoping it will not stick around for too long. Well, earlier today, Rachel Agard visited Dover Beach in Christchurch and filed this report.
The heavy blanket of sargassum seaweed along the island's south coast has begun to disappear. But those who frequent Dover Beach, Christchurch are hopeful what's left behind from last week's influx will soon be carried away or cleaned up. Beach chair operator Ricky Pinder says the seaweed on Dover Beach is trapped.
Every time was going out, we weren't going to seaweed, period. Because yeah, there we had a lot, but the sea was big, so it carried a lot. So no, that come from around Sanders, no, and then it trapped from right here, no, it ain't going back out. That like slow down operation. Cause this kind of thing, we got enough people already, and I ain't got no chairs above there. And I've got chairs above there, but I ain't got none.
However, Debbie Thomas, who was listening to the sound of the sea with her friends, says the sargassum seaweed is not too much of a bother.
It's awful, it's ugly, it's stinky, but I don't come to the beach just for the sea. I come for, my friendship, so I still love it. But I don't go in. But it's not as bad as it was a couple of years ago. That would have been way up here. So we live with it. I guess they say the sea's cleaning itself.
Meanwhile, UK visitor Jean Sim says she has never seen the seaweed as thick as it was last week.
We don't often come in the summer. We normally come in March or April for the cricket. But the cricket's here now, so we've come over to see the cricket. Summer, it has cleared a lot, but there's still a bit left. And people aren't venturing into the sea very much, not like they would normally.
According to the Sargassum Sub-Regional Outlook Bulletin, from April through July, there is an expected influx of the seaweed in the Eastern Caribbean. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Well, Minister of the Environment and National Beautification Adrian Ford has given the assurance that government is doing all to ensure the safe and environmentally sound removal of the sargassum from the island's beaches.
We have had inundations for the last 10 years, and every time it comes to our shores, we have a system that is activated where we use manual labor to remove the sargassum, and it is taken by trucks to a safe place for decomposition.
Mr. Ford also says the reason for the use of manual labor is to not disturb the many nesting grounds of the turtles, as it is important to protect all marine life.
It is really a no-no as it relates to having those big mechanical equipment and devices on the beach. We are going to do everything in our part to protect the integrity of our beaches, but at the same time remove the sargassum seaweed, which we know is unsightly, it is a threat, and it is not very good for neither locals or the tourists that come to our beaches. So we have a system in place. We are working assiduously with the workers, along with other government agencies, the NCC in particular, to remove the seaweed. And we are thankful that SSA has also come aboard and providing some trucks.
Minister of Home Affairs and Information Wilfred Abrams has hit back at opposition leader Ralph Thorne's criticism of government spending in preparation for the World Cup. Mr. Thorne has queried how the $50 million loan from the Africa Export-Import Bank has been spent. Speaking during a Barbados Labour Party St. Michael's South Branch meeting yesterday, Mr. Abrams spoke about some of the projects undertaken with the funds and their benefits. He said with the upgrades to Kensington Oval, for example, the country now has a stadium that can host any type of event.
We must be the smallest country to host 3 global finals. The smallest one. It said we are open for business. It said let us give our vendors a chance. It said let us display our talent to the world. There are lots of spin-off activities. Who was on Rihanna Drive yesterday? When I saw the videos, we left Kensington, we had no Rihanna Drive. The roads block off. All the people on there making a dollar. I am comfortable that our government is being responsible in its expenditure. We are being responsible in our custody of the public purse, and any expenditure we make is being done to benefit Barbados and Barbadians.
Mr. Abrams also queried why the opposition leader did not make use of the open day and a town hall meeting at Kensington Oval to pose any questions he had to the Prime Minister and World Cup organisers. Meanwhile, during that meeting, it was confirmed work to craft a new constitution for Barbados is ongoing. The update from Deputy Chairman of the Constitutional Reform Commission, Senator Gregory Nichols. In April, it was revealed the Commission had been granted another extension and is expected to present its written report to the President by June the 30th.
We have asked for an extension. We have a draft report that one half of the Commission is looking through, and we also have a draft bill which we are ironing out the kinks. But the task of building a modern constitution for the future is something that we engage in with purpose and resolve to ensure that things like discrimination on the basis of social class, which is part of the Barbadian social fabric, is something that we recognize we had to change. The first thing Bajans ask you, where you went to school, who your father is. This is not a society that we feel that where your social origins start should have a determinative say in where you should be.
Sanitation Service Authority workers take protest action. That story and more coming up. It's a wait-and-see situation to find out whether dozens of workers at the Wilde Depot of the Sanitation Service Authority will be on the job tomorrow after they took protest action today. Two unions representing the workers remain at odds over the settlement of an incentive pay from government, among other things. CBC News understands chief among the workers' grievances is the non-payment of an incentive for an island-wide cleanup in preparation for the ICC Cricket World Cup, as well as promised allowances. The SSA workers reportedly had a lengthy meeting with their respective labor representatives from both the National Union of Public Workers and the Unity Workers Union. General Secretary of the NUPW, Richard Green, told CBC News talks were cordial. However, he is appealing to workers to return to the job since talks with management are taking place.
Indicated that the process is still ongoing. We have not had a breakdown in that process. Subsequent to today's action, we have called a meeting of the Committee of Management of the Sanitation Service Authority, which will be made up of representatives and shop stewards of NUPW within the Sanitation Service Authority, after which we will lay out how we plan to move forward with this issue.
However, General Secretary of the Unity Workers Union, Caswell Franklin, tells CBC News his SSA members are not pleased and are willing to remain off the job until the matter is resolved. CBC News also tried to contact the Public Relations Department of the Sanitation Service Authority for comment. However, those efforts were unsuccessful up until news time. Executives from Export Barbados have earned a place in the global top 100 of the most influential people of African descent, export and international trade edition. Chief Executive Officer Mark Hill and Chairman Adrian Padmore have made the list, along with influential business people such as Chairman and President of Afrexim Bank, Professor Benedict Orama. Mr. Hill tells CBC News he believes the recognition is the result of the South-South linkages put in place by Prime Minister Mia Motley. He is honored to have been recognized.
It was a real pleasant surprise to learn that we actually made the top 100 list. And so for me, it's a big honor to be part of that. My chairman, President Orama, is on that list as well. It's Remy from Sharita Ramphal Center for Trade and Development at University of West Indies. So there's a lot of, big guns, so to speak, on our list, and so it's very humbling to even to be mentioned. Now, in terms of what would have led to that, whoever nominated me, I just want to say thanks for that nomination, and fundamentally, it's just recognizing that we as African people got to solve our own problems.
The Barbados Water Authority is setting the record straight following a video suggesting sewage is being pumped into the sea. In the video circulating on social media, a hose can be seen transferring liquid from a well in the Oystins Bay Garden area into the ocean. In response, the Barbados Water Authority dispatched its Industrial Waste Inspector, Veril Ann Scott, to investigate that report. She said the liquid in the video is actually storm water.
The Oystins Bay Garden Complex has a collection system to the back of their complex which collects all stormwater runoff via drains, and that flow is directed towards the well which was seen in the video. This well is also maintained by the NCC. There was a mention of an odor in the area, and this could be attributed to the occasional washing of grills on site, and food remnants obviously flow with that washed down water to those drains and going to a confined enclosed space. With time, the decaying matter will create an odor and contribute to the smell that was mentioned in the area.
The General Insurance Association of Barbados is anticipating an increase in the number of Barbadians who will be seeking insurance this hurricane season. That prediction from its president, Randy Graham, as he appeared on the People's Business last evening.
So when it comes to hurricanes and we're talking to what the Barbadians will need, we're actually talking about the fact that if your house is damaged, your roof is off, your windows down, your property is damaged, you need funding to replace that. And what people have to find is ways to fund that replacement or that rebuild. So you can go to your savings, you can go and borrow funds, or you can go to insurance. Many more people are looking to insurance to solve this, and that is a good thing. And we hope that Barbadians continue this trend and prepare for the financial impacts that they will need to repair their house. It's a very serious and demanding issue, and we have to solve that before the hurricane occurs.
The Christchurch Foundation School's Student Council body has made an impassioned plea for assistance in raising funds for one of their own. 12-year-old Cole Scantlebury is in need of $100,000 to address urgent medical needs, and the group is hoping to raise money through a $2 drive to add to its GoFundMe to assist their schoolmate. Rachel Agard has that story.
Christchurch Foundation School's footballer Cole Scantlebury suffered a stroke 2 months ago and was hospitalized in the intensive care unit at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. The 12-year-old student's condition worsened, and he was subsequently airlifted to Colombia to seek further medical treatment. His mother, Nicole Scantlebury, has started a GoFundMe page to raise $100,000 to cover medical expenses. And members of the school's student council are hosting a $2 drive to add to the fundraising efforts. President Rennie Holford says Cole is an asset to the team.
We are asking you for a very small contribution of $2 so that we can give Cole a reasonable amount of money so that he can come back to Foundation, healthy.
Ms. Holford says it has been difficult as they last interacted with their teammate during last term's talent show and are all saddened by his absence.
We want to really do our best to help him come back to school. Seeing as he is one of our youngest members of our student council, it really hurts all of our hearts to see that he is ill and away and not able to give his contribution back to our school. He was a very valuable member of our student council. Even if he didn't know exactly what was going on, Cole always had to say, I will do. I have the chance, I will.
During the interview, it was too much for some of them, and they found comfort in each other. It is their hope Cole's recovery will be swift so he can return to his CCFS family. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Someone said he just hasn't aged in That's someone who's no doubt watching today. Mark, good evening to you.
Very good evening. They need to watch closely. Barbados Tridents have dropped to their second straight defeat in the FIFA World Cup qualifiers, going down to Haiti last night. The senior men's national football team lost 3-1 following their defeat to Curacao on Wednesday night. CBC's Anmar Goodrich-Boyce reports.
Massive crowd on hand at the Wildy Turf, and it was beautiful sunshine and perfect conditions for FIFA World Cup qualifying action. Barbados in yellow up against the mighty Haiti, who almost opened the scoring here. The Trident saved by the goalposts. But it was only a matter of time before the visitors got their noses in front. Don Luis firing past Brandon Schuchter at the near post. Barbados 0, Haiti 1. Having conceded first, Barbados now looked up for the challenge. Nice passage of play and an excellent ball into Tadio James, who pulls the trigger, but the effort was straight at the Haitian custodian. Barbados were then made to pay for not taking their chances when Luke Lacroix doubled Haiti's advantage just before halftime with a finish from close range into the roof of the net. Haiti 2 goals to the good at the break. The halftime team talk definitely worked for Barbados, who showed a fighting spirit and were rewarded in the 73rd minute. Nadre Butcher's shot is parried into the danger zone and is touched home by Nairi Stephen. The Wildy Turf erupts as Barbados were back into the contest. Just listen to the fans and look at the celebration. Pure jubilation, and the cameras were out to capture the moment. But the celebrations for the home fans were short-lived as Haiti pounced with counter-attacking football at the highest level, turning defense into attack and never looking back. This is a 3v2 situation, and the outcome was inevitable. A simple finish at the back post for Brian Labriere, and there was no way back for Barbados as it ended Haiti 3, Barbados 1. Anmar Goodrich-Boyce, CBC Sports.
The Business Report is brought to you with the kind compliments of the National Insurance and Social Security Service. More than a contribution, it's your lifeline.
In business tonight, government says it is aware of the discussion surrounding making Broad Street an area for pedestrian traffic only. Minister of Energy and Business, Senator Lisa Cummins, says officials are happy with the Broad Street Mall marketplace held over the weekend, which restricted much of the busy road to people on foot. She was asked if such a move, similar to what has been put in place at Swan Street, is being considered.
Over many administrations, there has always been a conversation around pedestrianization of Broad Street and of Bridgetown more generally, and the Chamber of Commerce has had quite a bit to say in terms of revitalizing Bridgetown. So this is perhaps an important move today to see just how Broad Street could function if it was pedestrianized as we have made it into a space today, a Broad Street Mall on the outside of Broad Street, not inside the stores, but in the streets with small businesses. I think we've been very happy with what we've seen.
Quality Flowers, one of the long-standing businesses in the horticultural industry, is closing its doors at month-end. Trevor Thorpe is following the developments.
Florist and manager of Quality Flowers, Monica Newland, says she and her partner are not happy to be closing the doors to the business. She says this after surviving hurricanes, the ashfall, and recently shipping challenges.
People back then were not really, except for weddings and funerals, you wouldn't find young fellas rushing in to say, I made a mistake, I'm in the doghouse, I need something quickly to get out of the doghouse. That happens frequently now. I mean, why they get in the doghouse, that's their business, but no, we have a little card that would tell them. And when they show this little I'm in the doghouse card to the girl, she will laugh and they make up.
The author of 4 books, Miss Newland says she wants to concentrate on completing another book and will dedicate her time to that activity. She says, however, she and her partner are not happy to be leaving the industry.
I want to close, get myself out of it so I can go home and do what I want to do. But I feel that a business like this, with a management youth that can be on the net, with the Instagram, with Facebook, somebody that would be monitoring their net, you know, that keeping it current.
Ms. Newland says they are leaving the marketplace knowing they have helped with the development of the horticultural industry in Barbados. Trevor Thorpe for the Business Report.
Time now for the second half in sports with Mark Seal.
Indeed, basketball as promised. The St. Michael's School crushed Graydon Sealy in their penultimate game of the National Sports Council's Under-15 basketball competition. Playing at home, the SMS Cougars registered the 64-10 victory. CBC's Damien Best reports.
St. Michael's School in the blue hosting Graydon Sealy. Jordan Blackman with the half-court block and wins the foot race as well, up and in for 2 of his game-high 24 points. Chance for a three-point play, and he will complete the job from the charity line. Graydon Sealy couldn't buy a basket in the first quarter as they trail 14-0. Blackman raining down a 3 from upstairs, sweet. Motley Squires was the other double-digit contributor, drives through the D, teardrop 2, finished with 16. It was an all-round thumping in the first half. SMS moving the rock. Amari Boyce does the rest under the cup. Graydon Sealy only scored 4 points in the first half. Deshaun Haynes stops and drills the jumper. The second basket was wonderfully set up. Daniel Toppin comes off the screen. Running shot, bang on. 27-4 at halftime. More of that required. Second half business now, switch of ends. Fast break on with Motley Squires, easy layup. The dynamic duo making light work of a non-existent defense. Blackman with the mid-range J. SMS adding 21 points in the third quarter, just brimming with confidence. This was a workmanlike performance from start to finish. SMS never trailing, going on to thrash Graydon Sealy by a whopping 54-point margin, 64-10.
Well, that's our time tonight. Thank you for spending it with us. I'm Pearson Bowen. For the crew, to all of you, good night. By God's will, we'll see you tomorrow.